was bringing up Bam Bam Bigelow. How did you build your relationship with Bam Bam?
Well, I had met Scott when he was working. He was going to school at the Monster Factory in Larry Sharp's training facility, and I'd met him because Larry was running shows with a lot of his students, and he'd hire other guys, us guys, to work on the show. And finally, one day, I said to him, "When is that big kid gonna get in the ring?" Larry says, "Oh, he's almost ready, but not yet." I said, "Come on, you want to work out?" Because it was, early before everybody came in. I said, "You want to get in there and work out?" Scott goes, "Yeah." I said, "How come you don't work out with these other guys?" He goes, "They won't work out with me. They're all scared of me." I go, "Well, let's go. I'm not scared. Let's work out." And Scott and I would go in and we'd work out till they told us to get out because the people were coming in. And then I would, like once a month, I would drive down to like Philadelphia where his school was, and I'd work out with Scott. And we we were so light on the loot that I would tell him, listen, at that time, I need a $10 to get home for the tolls and the fuel, but I got another 10, and whatever he had, we'd put together, and we would go to a fast food place where we could add the money up, because we didn't have enough money to sit down and order a dinner.
Wow.
So I mean, that's how it started, and then ultimately it ended a lot better when we were making money.
Yeah, right, exactly.
We could sit down and order whatever we wanted, but yeah, that's the truth.
So when you were training with him, like, were you like, oh man, this guy is something no
Oh,
one's
yeah.
ever seen before?
I mean, I couldn't believe a guy that big could move that quick. He was the quickest big guy. I don't know how fast he could run the 40-yard dash, but at 18 feet from rope to rope, he was fast. He was as fast as anybody in there. He could really move, and he was light on his feet, I mean, that cat could do cartwheels and moonsaws. He was a 400-pound guy doing that stuff. That's stuff that a 120-pound gymnast does.
Now, the stories on Dark Side of the Ring, they told a story about how he saved like a family out of a burning building, and I think he was in jail in Mexico or something, and he broke through walls and then ended up being a body. Are these true stories, or is this all made up?
Well, as far as him putting the fire out, I heard things about that. I wasn't there, obviously, but I heard about it. As far as him going to Mexico, yeah, he went to Mexico to bring back a girl that got kidnapped or some stuff, and from what I was told, it was a pretty hairy operation. The guy he was with got killed and all kinds of stuff like that. Yeah, that's there.
I want to bring it back, though, to Pretty Boy Larry Sharp, right? That's a guy that never really gets a lot of play by anybody.
Sure.
I grew up on Larry Sharp. I love that guy, but could you tell us a little bit about Larry Sharp and what kind of person he was?
Larry Sharp was, well, first of all, he was a real good amateur wrestler. He was a state champ. He could wrestle. And he had a lot of talent and charisma in the ring. He was very flamboyant with the robes and the long blonde hair. He was a real pro. He knew how to do it. I mean, he lived his life a little crazy, But I liked that, so I thought he was fun to be around. Larry was a good guy. I liked him.
So, again, you trained at the Monster Fight, right?
I never did. I just used to go down and work out with Scott.
So you just went to work out with Scott?
Yeah, because
okay.
I was already wrestling.
Right.
But at that time, so I just would drive down there just to work out with him, because we got to be friendly, and he would love when I'd come down and work out with him.
Now you were like, then you must have been like royalty, right? You're like, oh shit, it's
No,
Apollo.
I was no big deal. I hadn't been anywhere. I was, the only place I might have been by that time was maybe Grand Prix,
Okay.
in Canada and stuff. I wasn't a household name. No one really knew who I was in the States,
How was Larry Sharp? He owned the training school. Was he on the up and up? Was it an up and up type? Because you hear all these these school stories where they're trying to train these guys and they fucking rip them off and they do all this shit to them. And
I mean, Larry had the Monster Factory, and that was there. And as far as I know, everybody that paid him money to train trained. How far everybody went, I don't know. But I mean, I think Papa Shango went there too.
really, yeah, I did not know
I
that.
think. Don't hold me to 100%, but I think Papa Shango went there.
So when you're in the WWE and Scott's in the WWE, they put you guys, together. Is that because they knew you guys were friends? I mean, how does that come about?
No, they had no idea of Scott and mine.
Really?
Prior, now that we would worked out 15 years before that in the Monster Factory. They just did it for the characters, the big stomping, bald-headed, 400-pound flamed head bear against this clown who's going to torture him and drive him nuts,
Right.
Well, every clown needs a straight man.
Right.
So, yeah, it was perfect.
So it's like a dream then. You're like, holy shit, I
Oh,
can't
yeah.
believe that they just did this out of the blue. That's incredible.
It was a stroke of luck. I had nothing to do with orchestrating that.
How was your chemistry in the ring together later on? Because, you both, was it fine?
Well, he turned into one of the best wrestlers in the business, and he was easy. He was great to wrestle with. He was great.
I don't want to get too deep into it, but, obviously he was in a lot of pain. He's a big man doing
Yeah.
a lot of stuff. He's a very close friend of yours. Like you said, you go do things together. Did you start to see him start to slip, and were you able to, or were you trying to help him, or was it just something you didn't know
Yeah, I
about?
mean, after he had back surgery, he had several surgeries, but the one that really, cemented almost the end of his career was back surgery. He was in a lot of pain. And like you said, when you're 400 pounds and you have back surgery, it's not like you're 150 pounds and you
Right.
have back surgery. It's a different ball game. And while I felt sorry for him, I felt bad for him, but there really wasn't much I could do for him. I mean,
Just be his friend, I guess.
be his
right?
friend, go down. We'd watch football together, go out and eat, stuff like that. But
How did his death affect you?
well, I was very upset for quite a while. I mean, when you have a friend like that you've been around the world with a couple times and been all over this whole planet, and then when he's gone, there's an empty space there. And that spot will never be filled till I see him someday.
Yeah.
You know?
So when you see something like the dark side of the ring, which I honestly don't think they put him in a bad light at all. I
No.
thought exactly what we just spoke about. This is a big man who's an athlete that ended up getting injured, and he needed help to keep his career going, and it's steamrolled out of control, which happens to tons of people, right?
Yeah.
Does that bring back bad memories? Does it bring back good memories? I mean, what?
Well, the fact that he's gone, it's sad, but I got so many funny times and good times I had with him. It was great. I never think bad. I always think happy days.
I want to talk about another guy who is near and dear to the show, Ted Petty, who you
Oh.
were friends with.
My